Gentlewoman's recognized.
I thank the gentleman. Since its secret nuclear weapons program was publicly exposed in 2002, Iran has manipulated nations, world leaders, and the United Nations on its march toward possessing the capacity to unleash nuclear havoc on the world. Current and past regime leaders have made their intentions quite clear: the destruction of the State of Israel, the extinction of the Jewish people, a world without the United States. Iran has already produced over 1,400 kilograms of low-enriched uranium, which can easily be used for a so-called dirty bomb. New Iranian documents have been revealed, reportedly detailing a program to produce and test the trigger for an actual nuclear weapon. Nuclear experts note that there is no other possible use for such nuclear technology except for a nuclear bomb. And in September of this year, media quoted international inspectors saying, and I quote, "They believe that Tehran has the ability to make a nuclear bomb and is working on developing a missile system that can carry an atomic warhead," end quote. And U.S. officials have calculated that Iran already has stockpiled enough uranium to produce one nuclear weapon, even as it expands its enrichment capabilities. We have arrived at the precipice, and we are staring into darkness. In February of 2006, the Congress adopted a concurrent resolution citing the Iranian regime's repeated violations of its non-proliferation obligations, underscoring that as a result of these violations, Iran no longer had the right to develop any aspect of a nuclear fuel cycle, and urging responsible nations to impose economic sanctions to deny Iran the resources and the ability to develop nuclear capabilities. 3 years later, the idea that we could rely on the so-called international community to handle this problem has been shown to be a mirage. But we too have failed to act quickly and decisively, failing to fully implement the range of UN sanctions that are already on the books. Now we must use the limited time remaining to impose sanctions so painful that they should threaten the Iranian regime's survival, but only when faced with the loss of power will the regime be compelled to abandon its destructive policies. The bill we are considering today, Mr. Speaker, the Iran Refined Petroleum Sanctions Act, which I joined Chairman Berman in introducing, ratchets up the pressure on the regime by targeting a key vulnerability: Iran's inability to produce sufficient gasoline and other refined petroleum products. In recent years, Iran is estimated to have imported gasoline directly or indirectly from at least 16 countries, including China, India, the Netherlands, France, and the UAE, as well as global oil companies such as Total and Shell. To stop this trade, the sanctions we are considering today must also be adopted by our allies, who continue to talk about the need to act, but hide behind the claim that the UN Security Council must act first. But the UN Security Council, due in part to Russian and Chinese opposition, has demonstrated that it will never impose meaningful costs on the Iranian regime. There is no shortage of measures available. What is lacking is the will. Beyond this bill today, Mr. Speaker, the broader question is whether we will be bystanders, complicit in our own destruction. As Churchill warned, if you will not fight for the right when you can easily win without bloodshed, if you will not fight when your victory will be sure, you may come to the moment when you will have to fight with all the odds against you and only a precarious chance for survival, end quote. For our survival and for that of our friend and ally Israel, render your full support to this legislation. Mr. Speaker, I reserve the balance of my time.